Hey guys, what's up? Killjoy Jake here, and instead of having horror movies, I have friends. Wait a minute. Today we're going to be talking about the horrendous Black Christmas remake that I just came from. I saw it at around 8 o'clock and it's about midnight here now, and I have work in about 6 hours. So this is going to be an interesting couple of days for me. First, I'm going to need you guys to like this video and subscribe before we get into this review. And do not go see this movie. That's the other thing I'm going to say. So that's the other thing you got to do with this, seeing this video. All right, let's get into it. So I want to start this off with saying that I'm just a huge fan of the OG Black Christmas movie. I actually really like it. I think it does a lot of really cool things, a lot of really cool kills, a lot of cool stylistic choices that it makes. And this movie does zero, absolutely none of that. It tries to copy like one of the kills and totally fails in doing that, but there's just absolutely nothing scary about this movie. It shouldn't have been called Black Christmas. It has nothing to do, not even close to the same plot line. It's not trying to remake anything. If you ask me, they really just took this title just so that they could make some extra bucks over what was a total heaping pile of trash. I'm just at a point where I've seen so many remakes. I see new remakes coming out, I get excited for them, I go see them, I get disappointed. It's just this vicious cycle of horror movies that I'm just so sick of at this point. I saw a trailer for that Grudge remake, and honestly now I'm thinking I'm probably not even gonna see it. It's Sam Raimi again who did the first remake technically from the Japanese movie, but it's gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be another remake that just sucks. They're just doing it to keep the copyrights and to make more money. They did it with Pet Sematary, which was one of my absolute favorite horror movies, honestly, before that. And now they're just doing it with all these other awesome horror movies. Although, I'll tell you what, this was a remake of a remake, so you know it's gonna be real bad. Even the 2006 version has a lot of interesting... it does a lot of things that are stylistic again, totally different way. Like, for example, every kill in that movie is something through the eyeball, which is interesting to me. It's something, it is freaky. Like, it does, like, the first couple times you see it, you're like, oh no way, man, I don't want to see that at all. And it gets you. And then, you know, as it goes along, it's like, okay, I've seen glass in the eyeball like 7 times now. You know, okay, do something else, movie. It doesn't do anything else. Just like this movie, it does the same old thing every single time. This is also PG-13, so there's not a whole lot they can do in this movie either, but it's still just not fantastic. I'm so tired. I also just didn't like... There's a lot of underlying themes in this movie that, yes, I agree with. I never like when a movie tells you a solution to a real world problem when this movie takes place in a total fantasy world where these characters would not make these real life decisions like this. If you're trying to have some underlying social commentary in your film, make your movie as realistic as possible. Then people are definitely going to listen and follow your message, because this movie does have a good message. It just doesn't convey it very well because, well, this movie isn't realistic at all with a lot of the character decisions and just the characters themselves. My favorite character of this movie was, I think her name was maybe Annie or Danny, maybe? They said it one time in the movie. I've only seen it once now. So she was the girl. She said she was Jewish at one point, and then she also how did they refer to it? She asked for a diva cup at the... I think that's a maxi pad. I could be wrong, but she said diva cup, and I thought that was funny. That's some good terminology there. So she was my favorite character. She had like two very short scenes in this movie and then gets killed instantly. I would love to see more of her, if I'm being totally honest with you. The rest of these characters are just hella boring, dude. This movie reminds me, it's almost the exact opposite of this movie I just watched called The Green Inferno. It's basically Eli Roth's love letter to Cannibal Holocaust. And it takes characters like this from this movie who you just kind of got a sick feeling in your mouth just rooting for him at times. And then it totally screws over the ones who kind of deserve it, who kind of like just need to die, and they just die in this horrible way. I love The Green Inferno. I avoided it for years because I just wasn't a big fan of Cannibal Holocaust. If you've never seen it, I'm totally going off the rails, by the way, here. Has nothing to do with Black Christmas. But if you've never seen Cannibal Holocaust, nothing happens until the last, like, 5 minutes of this movie. Literally, it is them trying to, like, get to talk to this cannibalistic tribe, and then finally they do talk to them, and they find out that they're the group of people that they've been looking for. I didn't preface this very well, but they find out that the group of people they've been looking for was eaten by these people, and they find it all on a video camera. They could have just showed us that. Well, The Green Inferno is just that in a whole feature-length movie of these protesters who go down there and they just get eaten alive, and it's messed up. Super messed up. Also, I'm really sorry I could not get my Friday the 13th video out today. It's Friday the 13th, and I unwisely decided to go see this movie instead, Black Christmas, and man, I was just disappointed, being a big fan of the original, and honestly, after seeing this movie, it makes the 2006 movie look like it was directed by Quentin Tarantino. I think my biggest thing to take away from this movie is horror movies need to be scary. If you're gonna do something like this, you're gonna have a movie with underlying social commentary. You have to make it unsettling. You have to make it scary. You have to make people scared by this film so that they want to do something about it. If that's your goal, I don't feel compelled to do it. I feel compelled to not go see this movie. I feel compelled to tell you not to go see this movie after seeing it. What's so effective about the movie Get Out and Us is that it has a underlying point, and they're both scary movies, and they get the job done because they're effective horror films. If they weren't, well, I just wouldn't really care. Just be like, well, don't go see that movie because it just kind of sucks. It's trying to prove a point, but it's all confused and mixed up. That's how I feel about this movie. It was just confused. It didn't have one single point in any direction. It just kept changing it every section you went to, and you're just confused by it. I don't know. I can't tell you what this director, and it was the same girl who wrote and directed this film. I can't tell you what her point was from this movie. It was all over the place. We need to return to making horror movies scary. I think we're about to go into this new decade where we get this whole new brand of horror films. And it's coming from just a few of horror directors nowadays that unfortunately are just not getting enough attention. Ari Aster, who just made Midsommar this year, fantastic horror writer and director. Both of his movies are absolutely fantastic. If you've ever seen any of his short films, a lot of them are pretty good. Some of them are bizarre, but I like just about everything he's ever made. Robert Eggers, who wrote and directed The Witch, and then he had this new movie come out this year called The Lighthouse. Both movies absolutely fantastic. I want to see more films like that. They make you question what the hell is going on in this film. It's unsettling because it's so into the unknown. You don't know what's going on. I want to see more of that. And what's awesome is we have that with underlying social commentary, and that comes from my man Jordan Peele, who's one of my absolute favorite horror writer-directors in the biz nowadays. He's apparently working on a Candyman sequel, which I'm gonna go see opening night, I'll tell you what. Us and Get Out are fantastic horror films. Unfortunately, I guess I'm in the minority here, but I believe that Us was a lot better than Get Out. So you can fight me on that in the comment section, but Us is up there for me personally. Really liked that film. So don't go see Black Christmas because you're gonna waste your money. I just tore up the tickets and threw them into the fire. Like this video and subscribe if you're digging all this horror content. I'm gonna be back next week with a Friday the 13th video. I promise. It's coming out. I just want to edit this and make it perfect. It's a really long video about the entire first movie, really going into a deep analysis on all the scares and on how they're effective and not. It's going to be really interesting and really cool. It's a whole new series I'm starting on this channel. Really excited about it as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if I haven't said that enough times. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.